Hello. Hello. I am Alicia Richard, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the ultimate place where I talk about locks, life, and the Lord. So if you are interested in any of those topics, make sure that you subscribe so that you'll never miss out on any amazing content. So today's content is going to be a little bit different because I am going to be talking about how I stay consistent as a content creator on YouTube. And of course, you all know, if you all have been following me for some time, like how the schedule gets really busy. So I'll be talking about how I remain consistent when creating content. I've been creating content since like 2017, but it has not always been easy, right? I actually had a podcast. It's called the A Rich Life Podcast. And on there, it was like a weekly show, kind of just talking about a little bit of what I'm talking about now. However, it was more about like spirituality, being consistent, that goal setting stuff. And I actually had a podcast for like years, and I do plan to start my podcast again. So since I've been doing the A Rich Life podcast, I paused because life got like really crazy. And then I started on TikTok, right? And from TikTok, I almost grew my account following to like almost 10,000 people. However, I just felt disconnected from it. And I didn't want to create that kind of content anymore. So what happened is, fast forward to today, as you are seeing me on YouTube, I decided that I wanted to create a different type of content. And I just wanted to do something that was different, something that really would resonate with myself in the journey that I am on right now. So then that brings us to one of the things that helps me to stay consistent is like my own personal goals, right? So I've always just had a strong desire of really being a content creator. I have photography experience. Like, I've been a photographer for like 14 years now. It's been about 14 years. So I've always had like a creative eye, just to really just have like a creative work in photography, videography, and stuff like that. So what got me here is that self-motivation. Like, I've always been kind of just motivated. I've always had goals and dreams. Now, not to say that I've been perfect all the time, you know what I'm saying? Because that ain't quite the case. However, I've always loved to the artistic value of life. And so I tried to bring that like through my work, even as a photographer, and now even as a content creator on YouTube. So I've always had a desire to be creative. Self-motivation comes with really just knowing what I want. And I want you to think about what are some of the things in your life where you know that you want, right? Do you also want to be a content creator, but are you a little shy? Do you shy away from, like creating content? Are you at a place where you're like, you know what, it's not for me, or it is for me, but you don't know how to be as confident as you should be? And I could share some tips on really just how to gain that confidence. But really, I've always had like a true drive for, life and connecting and telling a story. And that's some of the things that I do try to do in my content. All right. So another way that I've been consistent is ChatGPT, right? So I know a lot of times people are like, you know what? And I do have notes here that is going to help me. So if you see me like looking down or something. So ChatGPT assists me with like things like titles or like those like creative concepts. So when it comes to like my schedule, my planning, my batching content, my content rotation, it really just helps me in terms of the organization part of it. Because when it comes to speaking and scripting, sometimes I need a little help, but not too much. So I would use ChatGPT to kind of remind me of my content rotation. I use it to help plan for me. I use ChatGPT as a way of like, I already know who my ideal client avatar is, or who my ideal person is. I already know like who my ideal viewer is here on YouTube. So it really just helps me to like narrow things down and be way more strategic in this season. So I honestly wish that I had ChatGPT like years and years ago, instead of just kind of just doing it on a whim. So now that in this season of my life, I'm strategically using it to help me align with my goals and my dreams, right? So I don't say create a script, but the way that I use it is give me an outline, right? Or like kind of just, I use it as a guide. I use ChatGPT as like my personal assistant, right? I use it as like the goal setting guy, like tell me what I would do next or what should I do next. I also use, I'll back this up just a little bit. I also use ChatGPT as a way to like tell me about, say for instance, and I'll just give you like a random example of something that I've used in my personal life. I'm sorry that this thing is looks like it's a little, okay, I think, okay, so here's an example. The other day I told ChatGPT, you all know that I am in the master's degree program and I am getting a master's degree in social work. So I said, with me getting my master's in social work, can you outline a plan if I wanted to become a professor at a collegiate level, right? So I would do give prompts like that, like act as if you are my career advisor and provide me on how I could be a professor at a collegiate level. And then I would, ask them to give me, the rundown of what I should do. I would say, who should I contact? How can I get into becoming a professor? What are the best routes? So it would just give me like a tailored description of what I am desiring, right? So I would use it like that, like my go-to person. When it comes to content, I actually use it to generate like just different things for me. And if you want me to give you like detail about how I use it a lot. But it's more of a personal assistance and I use it for guidance, right? Um, so the other thing is I also use ChatGPT not only just to plan, but also just to help me to streamline things. So I would ask it to help me to, like formulate my day, help assist me and guide me in what I should be doing at what times. So it really just is, I use it again as a personal assistant. Okay, so my advice for busy moms, what I do is I create content, and the way that I remain consistent is also by using small increments of time. So if I have like, an extra hour in my day, if I'm riding in my car, during those break times during the week, I really strategically plan. And sometimes it is a decision. However, a lot of times when I do my content and when I plan for my content, a lot of times it is, what are those 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes break times throughout my day that I can record content and it's actually good content to record. So that is one of the ways that I've been strategic, right? Another way that has helped me as well is also on Saturdays and Sundays. So with my family, I do try to get like B-roll during those days. I record during those days. And what I do is I don't mind like having my I don't mind like recording with my son, because I have goals, right? So it doesn't matter in this season. It is like how they say do or die, right? Especially with me like getting more mature and I'm almost to the age of 40, I feel that since I've been doing it this time, like it's either I'm gonna make it work and make it count, monetize my accounts, or I'm just not gonna do it at all. And in this season of my life, I'm just gonna be honest, right? We gotta be honest, right? I would and I am going to monetize this YouTube channel, and this is going to be an additional stream of income. So having those goals in mind actually helped me to set my goals, know what my goals are, and like navigate through life with my goals. So I would tell my husband, I'll tell my children know, hey, I need you to go in the room except the 1-year old. I would tell my middle and my oldest son, I need you to go in the room and I need you to be quiet because mom about to record some content and I don't need you on this camera here screaming on the video game. Okay. So everyone in my family knows what my goals are. My husband knows, don't bother Alicia during this time because 9 times out of 10 she's recording content. So don't be afraid to tell the people that are close to you like what your goals are. It was the other day I was recording B-roll with my sons and it was like, Ma, how many times you want us to do this? And I'm like, look, bruh, I need y'all to do what I asked you to do, right? So they know it, and everyone may not want to actively participate. However, having that knowledge of what the goal is and what the plan is helps the people around you to kind of just navigate with your schedule. All right. So the next thing that I do want to talk about is setting these, again, realistic goals for myself. I am so realistic about when can I create content and how often. So I want you to think about how realistic can you be with your goals? How realistic can you be with your content plan? How often can you show up with your videos? So I know that one of the main content pillars of my content strategy is hair, right? So I make sure that I'm doing a tutorial telling you about products or even styling my hair. Another content pillar, I don't know if you all know, but I'm literally like walking y'all through like what my plan is I actually talk about faith, right? That goal setting part, right? Being intentional about your day and your time. And then another pillar that I am creating right now, as I am talking to you about, is creating that content, being confident on camera, and some of the resources that I use. Now, when I tell you your girl is deep into this AI thing, I'm doing it and using it in a positive way that is actually helping me, right? So all of these things is how I stay consistent when it comes to creating content. If you want to know more about this, then I will be creating more videos about this. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you can know more about how I use ChatGPT to plan my life, plan my day, and help with my career and even in my content. So if any of those things are helpful to you and you really just want to know how to navigate your busy life as well using the assistance of artificial intelligence, make sure that you subscribe and we can go from there. So again, thank you so much for viewing this video. I am Alicia Richard and I look forward to speaking to you soon, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.